Everybody, welcome into Gem Discoveries by gemstones.com. I'm Tom Joyce.
I'm Rob.
So every week we try to show something a little bit different. We had some specimens yesterday, but on the Monday one, you know, Rob's here with me, and
Sorry, what are you going to do?
no apologies
I'm
necessary. I like to have someone here with me. So on this one, we're kind of going to go over like phenomenal type stuff. So what is phenomenal in terms of gemstones?
Good question. Yeah.
It's kind of like it gives some sort of different thing, because a lot of gemstones you'll just sit there and you see a color, like on a colored gemstone. But on these, the phenomenal parts are like it gives, you know, we have some agilurescence coming in, some asterism, color change.
Usually it's an optical effect of some kind, whether it's a change in color or a play of color or some sort of effect that you see like on the surface of the stone or something within the stone. That is what we call an optical phenomenon. So we're going to take a look at a couple of stones that exhibit some really cool phenomena.
Yeah, which is great because, you know, all stones have something special about them, but these are just something a little bit more. So the first one we're going to look at is an Oregon sunstone from the Butte mine in Oregon. I mentioned the state already, so I'm just being redundant at that point. So when it's on the turntable at different angles, you might be able to see like the lines of the copper platelets that are going through it. And with that shimmer that comes off that, they just, you know, refer to it, that's called schiller when it is inside of a sunstone. So the Butte mine isn't actually just a single mine. It's a series of claims that are on the side of, you know, on a mountain. And it's on an old volcano butte basin, pretty much. It's located 28 miles north of Plush, which is where the Bureau of Land Management, like, Sunstone collection area is. Which I saw the Spectrum mine is right there by the Sunstone collecting area, and someone hit a big pocket out there, and they had all the video from it. And it made me want to cry because I did not get that. No. So the Butte mine is actually an open pit mine, and open pit mining is really considered one of the most dangerous things in the industrial world. And when you really look at it, of the largest open pit mines in the world, 6 of them are attributed to either diamonds or gold. So it's usually precious metals or an ore that is being mined out of this.
Right.
Now this is a pear shape. It's a 2.25 carat average, so a little bit higher, a little bit lower, and this is a 1 only. So if I had a scale with me, I could actually get you that weight.
I'm going to drop a little link in the chat if anyone's interested in looking at the page for this stone. It's really beautiful in person.
Yeah, and this is actually really good news that it's a 1 only, because if you were interested in this one, this is the one that you're going to get. And it does have really good like striations of copper that are going through the stone, and it's kind of concentrated in that tip. Yeah. Whee! And I just dropped it. No damage if you wanted to buy it.
We got a question. What's the difference between Oregon sunstone and andesine/labradorite?
Andesine labradorite generally comes from China, I believe, and it also has a bulk diffusion process that helps get that color. So it's really just a treatment. Oregon sunstone would be untreated, and then, you know, andesine labradorite also, it's a cherry red color. So you'll have cherry red sunstone, but a lot of times you have to have those copper platelets that are gonna make it be a sunstone. Outside of that, you just have a feldspar, and I'm not dismissing it, but it
hasn't got the phenomena, you know, if it doesn't have those platelets.
Yes, Jenny, the schiller is almost always caused by copper. It's really the reflection of the metallic that is causing that, you know, that shimmer that happens.
But it's got to be a metallic mineral on the inside, or a material. Otherwise, it doesn't quite have the quality of light.
Because what is it, Amazonite that has the little platelets, like disc-like platelets as well, but it's not anything. I think it's Amazonite, maybe.
I can't
remember that one.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it's not a metallic inclusion, then it's not going to have that same metallic reflective quality. And that's what schiller really describes.
Yeah, because you'll have like pyrite and quartz. You know, those platelets can be dotted out a little bit, but it's just not the same. Like the copper really, you know, it does wonders inside this stone, and it also helps with like the coloration of the stone too.
I was going to say, it gives it that sunny.
And when you get even like the greenish sunstone, I've always thought it's almost like copper like roofs will always get that green, that patina
like
that happens.
That dual color of the green with the orange. Yeah,
I do
like
too.
That Sunstone variety very much.
Yeah, anytime you can get some sort of bicolor going on in it, there's no complaints to be had there. So again, this is 2.25 carat average, 11 by 8 millimeter pair. It is a bigger size stone. I like pear-shaped stones.
I do too, yeah. And at that size, it's really nice.
Yeah, it really is. And again, it is an average, but with it one only, if that were something you were interested in, shoot one of us a message and we can get, you know, the accurate weight for you. Because normally if it says minimum, it's a lot easier.
Yeah. You're welcome, Jenny. That was a good question.
Yeah, it really was. Lots of good questions. So we're both looking at YouTube right now. There's so many different places you can watch and comment, but right now we are on the YouTube live chat. This next one that we have is a round color change garnet. It's a 1 carat. So color change garnet, it's kind of interesting. So this is Tanzanian material. And there was some Tanzanian material that was like a blue color that went, you know, a red, and that was something that had a quick run, and we haven't really seen any on the market in quite a while. I don't ever like saying something's mined out. It just, you never know.
It's just not there right now.
Yeah, it's just not there right now. So on this material here, you know, it's kind of a brownish purple, it looks like, and I know that it does go a reddish color when it does change. And with the color change, color shift stuff, it gets really difficult, and it's hard because of lighting to see color change stuff.
Especially in the studio lighting where there's light from all directions, it can be difficult to see.
Yeah, I don't even attempt to do it. It's, you know,
it's honestly, it's too bad, but I think that's the right call.
Yeah, and the best way to do it is just to go outside with it. That's where you'll see the best color change, because with LEDs, the way they are, the way they've changed everything, it's pretty difficult to view color change. But man.
That said, when you do get it, it's pretty spectacular.
Yeah, it really is.
The first time I saw a color change, I think it was a synthetic alexandrite.
Yep.
And which the color change in synthetics is really dramatic. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was like, this is some kind of hack or magic.
Yeah.
It's not real. It very much is, and it's phenomenal, as I said earlier.
Any kind of like color changing type stuff, whether it's fluorescence or this kind of color change, it just.
What do you mean?
It really is awesome, and it's so pretty. And I really like tenebrescence, where like it heats up, changes, and then goes back to the normal color.
That's cool.
But garnet, you know, it's already one of my favorite stones, and like a lot of the color change stones, you don't really see them in something that's singly refractive. It's a lot of doubly refractive stones, like Sapphire, Alexandrite's one. I'm trying to think, my mind is blanking, but garnet, you don't tend to see it that often in a singly refractive stone.
Well, that makes this pretty special then.
Yeah, it really does. And these are just really beautiful stones. Just that color is really pleasing to the eye, and you know, you wouldn't believe it with it being 90 degrees outside and as hot as it is, but fall is coming very quickly.
I promise it's coming.
Yeah.
Just not soon enough.
And we have football this weekend, so.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Life's over, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I saw
celebration.
Yesterday, Craig, who is, you know, over all of our e-commerce, he had posted a thing that said, this is the last Saturday through the rest of the year that there won't be any football on, so. Apologies, Lisa. Saturdays are over. Ooh, that's interesting. What Barbara just said about gives a third color to Xandrite.
Whoa, does it really?
Which we do have to say, if there's anyone out here who didn't watch the Justin Prim episode where he showed us the Xandrite that he cut, I'd highly suggest watching that. It's really interesting and unique, and he was just here this past week.
Yeah,
and
we shot, I have to say, we shot a ton of really amazing stuff this past week with Justin Prim and another pair that brought some really crazy synthetic material. Follow us or subscribe on YouTube. I promise those videos were going to be really, really cool. Gemstones.com, same as, well, you're watching on YouTube. Jeez, what am I saying?
And I mean, I do have to say, if you're a science-based person or have a science background, you're gonna want to watch the two brothers that came. I met them just under a month ago, and I was so excited about meeting them that the first thing I did was call these guys and said, you need to call these people. So
got to have these guys on, and they drove up, you know, like a couple weeks later.
Yep.
And they were here last week, and it was amazing. Some of the most spectacular. You want to talk about phenomena?
Yeah.
Some of the most ridiculous reactions to light, and oh my gosh, no, really, really incredible stuff.
Well, and that's
so stay
right.
tuned.
Yeah, and their stuff is more from a science background. Like there are so many scientific applications of all of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But these guys really knew everything about what it's used for.
Yeah.
Even buying
Really
it from places
specialized
that use
knowledge.
it for that. So, but Garnet, I'm sure it has some sort of
Yeah,
scientific
sorry.
application, but we don't know what that
I got
is.
carried away. I'm so
This
excited.
just has beauty. Yeah, but there's so much stuff that's always coming up on this channel that
Yeah.
just really be paying attention to it.
And
it's exciting.
I'm gonna cook up some TikToks with the same footage that we shot over on Thursday and Friday. So if you don't follow us on TikTok, check us out there as well, and stay tuned.
Yeah, definitely just kind of always be watching this
We're
stuff.
all
You
over the
don't
place.
know what's going to be coming up next or what.
We're on the gram. We're on the talk.
Yeah, we're doing it for the
We're
gram.
on YouTube. We're
Pre-
not on Vine. We can't do it for the Vine. But
Yeah.
we'll do it for the gram.
Preston and Rob just over there on the digis. That's
just
all that
cooking.
happens. We're trying to look at Preston. He's not looking
He's
at
not
us.
looking. He's pretending he can't hear us.
Him and Shane in there are talking about TV shows
They're not even
probably.
doing their jobs.
So
Yeah,
this next one that we have coming is blue fluorite.
I love fluorite.
And this is a color shift fluorite. I like fluorite too. And that was something, if anybody watched yesterday's shows, those fluorites went very quickly. There are more coming, but if you were looking for fluorite specimens, they did not last too long. But that's the good news, is there is more fluorite that is still back in imaging. So most of the specimens from yesterday's show are sold. I carried them down to the warehouse this morning so they could ship. So I'm glad people got those. But just keep a lookout. There's going to be specimens coming every day.
That's a beautiful blue color.
Yeah, this
really
really
nice.
is a nice blue color. And you'll notice this one says shift. It doesn't say color change.
I was going to bring that up, so I'm glad you did.
Yeah, and it's just a tonal shift. It's hard when you look at some of that stuff that you wonder when you're seeing it, did the saturation just change a little bit, or did the color actually change? It's really hard to see that kind of stuff. Now on this, determined it's just a shift.
Okay, so it can be a little bit difficult classifying between color change and color shift, but generally speaking, color change is color shift is where a gemstone changes colors or shifts colors, but it's a lot more subtle, and the two colors are next to each other on the color wheel, generally, is what the definition that I've been given. Whereas color change is a much more dramatic change in color, like in alexandrite, you go from green to red, fully changing colors. Whereas shift is just a little slide from one hue to the next.
Yep.
It's still pretty though.
I think that's a very accurate definition. Excellent.
Thank you.
Everyone down in the chat, tell Rob good work, because that was a very good description of the two differences.
Well, you're welcome, David. Thanks for being here and watching and tuning in. Charles, do certain cuts enhance the color shift? I don't think the cuts would affect the color shift, but certainly cut can influence the color of a gemstone, or at least the color that you see.
Yeah, and I think if anything, it would enhance the impact of that color change.
Yeah,
you know,
it's not going to take it away, but it might increase what you see of it. Right?
Yeah, but everything that causes that color change or color shift is internal into the stone or in the makeup of said stone. So.
But of course, cuts can affect the color and the appearance of a stone overall. So
I
think generally the answer would be yes, but it's not going to remove or take it away.
Nope.
You might just dull the effect.
Yeah, I think the only optical phenomenon that is probably affected by cutting of a stone is thermochroic, because it probably heats up while it's on the wheel and it might change real quick, but it goes back. But other than that, no, it's never usually a cut that enhances it.
I'd say asterism could be affected by the cut.
That would be okay. Yeah, so there we go.
Because you kind of need it to be in cabochon.
And
you can cut away the rutile that creates the effect. But with this, it's baked into it's inherent, it's innate within the stone.
Yeah.
the shift.
But as far as, yeah, the color change, color shift, that's just a chemical property that's causing that. Now, fluorite is a softer stone. That's why I've got the plastic tip tweezers out.
Nice.
It's one that scratches easily, and you know it will fracture easily as well. But on something like this, yeah, good cleavage on a stone like this. But you know, it depends. If you're not setting this in jewelry, you probably wouldn't have any problems. You can.
I was going to say this is like a display stone. It's not really, you know, I wouldn't. I would be nervous wearing a fluorite ring every day. You know, knocking into stuff with your hands. Maybe earrings, maybe a necklace. But I think fluorite is best displayed, especially something with the shift like that. Give it some 2 lights. You know.
Yeah, I would agree, because I have a nice color change fluorite specimen.
Yeah.
But it's from, I think, Durango, Mexico. Okay. So really nice. But this has a checkerboard cut on it. You can see when the light hits here in the studio that it's got some facets across the table. Yeah. But it's a really, really nice stone, the cutting that goes into it.
Oh, I didn't drop the link. Here, you guys can check it out yourselves.
Yeah, and you know, we have a great imaging department, and they do try to take all kinds of, you know, pictures of the color change or color shift. Add pictures of fluorescence when it's needed. So the next one I'm going to put out next to it, I'll just clear it so Shane doesn't have dead space on that turntable as it's going. This is an interesting and unique stone.
I see the color from here.
Yeah, and it does have a slight color shift to it. It'll go a pinkish color. And you'll even find out there on the market, there is actually a pink variety of this stone that's just already out, already available. And this is one that is also extremely, I don't know if I want to say soft, but it can be brittle, and it's got perfect cleavage in multiple directions. So this is one that, you know, I've seen set in rings before, and I was like, what are you doing putting this in a ring? You know, it's kind of one of those things that if you hit it at the right place, you're going to look down. I've seen this stone break multiple times where when you look at it, you don't realize it's broken because it'll just cleave perfectly on the girdle.
Yeah.
And when you do that, it still looks the same. You just don't have crown facets. That's what happens. It just looks like a huge table. So it is really easy to break. And this is Diaspora, Turkish Diaspora. It has plenty of trade names. We won't get into them.
But trade names.
Yeah, a lot of trade names, a lot of them. And one of the reasons that it does have all these trade names is that a stone like that is softer and can break in so many places, that also means that it's a little bit more difficult to cut. And when it's difficult to cut, people usually don't cut it.
Yeah. Well, but that's what makes cut material all the more interesting, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you don't normally see it. I'm always interested when I see faceted forms of things that are hard to cut you know, or challenging, like sphalerite, for example. I see this faceted sphalerite, and I'm like, oh my God, how did you do that?
Especially something that's so soft, and that was like by having Justin in the building. It really is interesting to hear a lapidarist perspective of these stones.
On the different materials to work with, yeah. We were asking him, especially after watching Justin work for like 2 hours on Friday.
Yeah.
I have definitely a new appreciation now when I see his faceted sphalerite. I'm gonna be like, oh my God, how did you, where did the, you know, I'm just gonna be even more impressed, I think.
So soft, so brittle, cleaves perfectly everywhere. It's just like, you really have to, we treat them delicately, but the person who cuts it even has to be more delicate just because of the material.
It's just begging to not be cut. And some lapidary's like, I'm gonna cut it. You know?
Exactly.
Some of them knock it out of the park. It's incredible.
Exactly. Yeah, it is trying to turn pink. And that's one that, like, for the longest time, I never saw the color shift inside of a Diaspora. When we first brought them in, everything, when we had so many of them, it was next to impossible for me to see the color shift, and I never really, you know, got into it that much. But more recently, I have been able to see it. I guess it's just learning the tricks of the trade.
Yeah. The luster on that is wild. It's so bright.
And this is a pretty decent sized stone. By reading the description, I'm not 100% sure that it's accurate. because this is not a square. So if you look at it, I can promise you the square that if you got a square, it would look great. This is an emerald cut, so I think that, oh, okay, so I think the description might be wrong. Tom Joyce is gonna look at this afterwards, and we're gonna figure out what's going on with it. But we'll just show it one more time before we show our last stone of the show.
Yeah.
Because
I love the color of this.
it is a pretty stone. And this is one that the plastic tip tweezers are great for protecting the stone, but boy, they don't help you pick it all up.
No, you talk about difficult to fasten. Using those toy.
I was about to say, yeah, we just switched real quick.
Just change grip.
Yeah, that was one that even I was a little bit nervous when I felt it switch, because I was like, oh, I just talked about how easily the stone breaks and cleaves, and I'm about to show it live and in person. Yeah, forget it.
No, it's okay.
We're done with that one.
Yep. So we got one more. We got
one more stone, and we have a cabochon.
This is much more durable.
Yep, that domey top. We're ready to go. So now we have a star sapphire, a Thai blue star sapphire, and it's a little inky blue that you can see. I'm gonna make sure that it's clean, just because.
Forbidden jelly bean.
Yeah, I wouldn't put this one in my mouth.
No, don't.
I mean, if I did, I wouldn't bite down on it, but.
No, God. You'd lose a tooth, I think.
Yeah, but that's just Preston, doing Preston things.
I asked him if he wanted to come over for this one. I'm regretting it.
Why?
No, because he's joshing around over there. He's joking. He's distracting.
Yeah, that's how it goes sometimes. That's how it goes. Hey, Preston, if Shane has his little mini light, can you bring it out here?
Oh, I don't
because I just want to show off the star on this. It's got a good star. Now, this is going to be one that, you know, it's 7 3/4 carats. That's a large size stone. It really is. But the thing with, you know, the star sapphires of this size and of this color, what it is it's been diffused. That's what brings that star to the surface. And that is, man, look at the star on this thing.
There you go.
So if you get that out into sunlight,
wow,
it's really going to go crazy just like this. Now,
that's another, sorry. That's another stone that the first time I saw a star sapphire, I was walking past it in a display case, and I went, I did a full double take. Sorry, I should have used my words instead of my physical movement.
The video?
Yeah, no, I literally did a double take. I was like, no way.
Yeah, I mean, and it really like pops out really well. When you see an untreated star stone, you know, the star is usually a little bit smaller. It doesn't really jump out as much as when it's treated or diffused. But that's one of the great things about treatments, is that they can make that kind of stuff happen. And I'll even show you the back of it, because the back is one of the things that's where you can find out if you have a natural or a synthetic star sapphire, because you'll see curving in it. A lot of times it's not uncommon to see like little bits of, I'm going to say damage. It's not damage, but like a crystal pocket out of it, or like a small little conchoidal fracture. It's not really a problem, because anything, if you ever get this set into a piece of jewelry, it's going to be set with this hidden.
Right.
Even when you want to display it, it's going to be on its base. It's just something that it's common. They don't really worry about fixing those. And really, with a star that good, I mean,
yeah, it's a stunning star.
Not a lot of complaints there.
So the curved lines that you mentioned are a result of the formation process of the synthetic sapphire. I just wanted to clarify. So if you flip it over and you see those curved growth lines, that's indicative that it was created in a lab.
Yeah.
And then the reason, I also wanted to mention, the reason Tom needs a flashlight is because if you want to get the star to show, it's very difficult with all of these lights all around. You kind of need a single light source from overhead. See, you know, just with the studio lights, it looks like a star is trying to come out, but if you hit it with the single flashlight, a strong, intense thing from above, then the star really jumps out.
Yeah, and you can really see just in the reflection of that how many lights are on us right now.
Like 9 lights.
So you can see the star in that, you know, in that shot, but it's just not really crisp. But once you go out in natural daylight, It really will look
yeah.
exactly like that. I wear a star sapphire ring sometimes, and when I'm sitting at stoplights, if I'm in the sun, I just put my hand on the wheel and just, you know, watch it shine.
And then you get a honk from behind.
Exactly. And then I wake up and I get going, and my
Whoops,
wife's like,
sorry.
"What just happened?" And I'm like, "Those are just the guys I do car pranks with." So that's the last stone we have today. We usually will say, let us know what you want to see, but we're going to show some mineral specimens next Monday.
Yeah, don't miss
we
it.
already have that planned out. We might bring out that big 635 karat ruby crystal that we have.
Whoa.
All kinds of good stuff.
Yeah, don't miss out.
Nope, never miss out. Always watch what's going on this channel, because there's some really good stuff coming.
Yeah, and follow us on Instagram and TikTok.
Yep. Have a good one.